Welcome to this quick playthrough video of Fliegerkorps. If you're new to the game, Fliegerkorps is a tense, solo, operational air war experience, where you command a German air corps across 12 historical turns. You'll be managing fuel, aircraft losses, and mounting campaign pressure as the timeline advances. To win, you need to score 11 or more victory points from missions before attrition, bad events, or total campaign collapse bring your operation to an end. Building our Fliegerkorps. We're starting by building our force with 25 victory points. Important. The VPs you spend here don't count toward your final score. This is purely your starting budget to build and upgrade your Fliegerkorps. Here's how it works. Choose one commander for a unique ability. Select exactly 4 aircraft cards available in 1940, because our first campaign will be the Battle of Britain. Convert any leftover VPs into fuel, black cubes, or iron crosses, white cubes for rerolls. Let's put this together. First off, we start with the commander selection. We must choose one commander card to lead our Fliegerkorps. Each commander has unique specials rules that will help us during the game. First up, we decide to choose Gunter Korten, costing 4 VP. Korten is fantastic for logistics. Every time the campaign timeline hits a green slot, which triggers major campaign missions, I gain 2 free fuel. And in this game, fuel is everything. It keeps your aircraft flying and your operation sustained. That extra fuel income makes long missions much more manageable and gives me breathing room in an otherwise punishing campaign. Now on for the aircraft selection of 4 aircraft cards. Let's start with a fighter aircraft. In 1940, there's only one pure option, the Bf-109E. This iconic Messerschmitt is a strong air interceptor with solid air value, making it essential for clearing RAF fighters and protecting my bombers. Early air superiority is critical. Without it, I risk getting overwhelmed. There's no alternative here, but fortunately, it's a powerful one. Next, the Ju-87 Stuka dive bomber that will cost -3 VP. This is my precision strike platform, especially strong in land attacks. It's relatively cheap, has solid endurance, and its special ability lets me re-roll failed land attack dice once per launch. Perfect for targeting airfields and infrastructure. Now for a heavy hitter, the Ju-88 that will cost 7 VP. This is a versatile workhorse. It contributes in air, land, and sea rolls, provides recon capability for my recon economy, and when it scores hits, it can skip refit for 1 cube per turn. It's expensive, but in a campaign like the Battle of Britain, you simply can't afford to skip dedicated bombers. For the final slot, I'm taking the Bf-110 for -4 VP. This heavy fighter fills multiple roles: air escort, ground support, even sea operations. Its launches cost a maximum of 2 fuel, which helps conserve resources for deeper strikes. It rounds out the wing nicely and gives me flexibility. Final adjustments. That brings us to 22 out of 25 VP spent. With the remaining 3 VP, I'm converting them into 1 extra fuel cube, 2 iron crosses for clutch rerolls. Each of these extra resources cost 1 VP. The extra fuel gives me insurance for longer missions, and the iron crosses can make the difference when I absolutely need an attack roll to succeed. Let me show you exactly how this game works in just 2 turns. Turn 1, campaign phase. First up, advance the timeline. Each space represents a real historical date during the Battle of Britain. Green spaces trigger a major campaign mission later in the turn. But this one isn't green, so we're safe. No big missions yet. Now we roll for a random event. We roll a 4. That gives us political pressure. This event says, if we fail to complete a mission this turn, we lose -1 victory point. Right now, we don't even have any VP to lose. So for this turn, no real impact. We move on. Mission phase. Normally, we would reduce all active mission timers by -1. But we don't have any active missions yet, so we skip that. Next up, we must generate a new mission. Because we're not on a green timeline space, this will be a standard mission. Roll the die. We get a 2. That gives us radar strike. Now check the timer icon next to the die result. This mission has a timer value of 3. That means we have 3 turns to complete it. If we fail, the mission is automatically judged a failure, and it suffers the penalties inside the mission failed box. So we take a die, set it to 3, and place it inside the mission box. The countdown has officially begun. Now here's where missions start to hurt. Missions don't just sit there with a timer. They deploy enemy cubes into your campaign sections and immediately create pressure. For radar strike, we see 2 green slots, 1 red slot. The 2 green slots have a target icon on them. That's important. Those aren't just enemies, they're objectives. You must fill both of those green target slots with destroyed green cubes to successfully complete this mission. Now let's deploy the cubes. 2 green cubes go into the land campaign section. 1 red cube goes into the air campaign section. When placing enemy cubes, you must always fill empty slots first in the matching campaign section. If every slot in a section is filled, that section becomes saturated. And saturation is bad. While a section is saturated, you suffer -1 to all die rolls when attacking that section. If additional cubes are deployed after it's full, just place them anywhere inside the section. The pressure keeps stacking. And here's the key. These cubes do not disappear at the end of the turn. They stay on the board until you destroy them. Pressure carries forward, which means every mission you ignore makes the next one harder. Now for the Luftwaffe phase. You get 4 action cubes to allocate to actions. And you place them one at a time to perform actions. Our available actions are launch, refit, logistics, recon. For our first action, we're going aggressive. We're allocating 1 cube to launch. Why? Because we want to clear the skies before sending bombers later in the turn. Right now, there's more than 1 red cube in the air campaign section, and that matters. That affects the overkill rule. When enemy fighter pressure is high, bad attack rolls can cost you more than 1 aircraft. So keeping the air section clean is critical. Look at the first black slot under the launch action. It has 2 fuel icons. That means this launch costs 2 fuel. So we discard 2 black fuel cubes from our resource card. Fuel spent. Engines warming up. Selecting aircraft. I'm choosing the BF-109, but I'm not launching all of them. I'll deploy 2 gray cubes. Why not all? Because if I overcommit now, I'll need refit actions later to return worn-out aircraft to operational status. And that burns tempo. So 2 fighters go into the air campaign section. Each cube gives us 1 attack die. That's 2 dice. The BF-109 has an air attack value of 3+, so we need 3 or higher to destroy red cubes. The BF-109 also has the veteran Schwarm special rule. If at least 1 6 is rolled, we can re-roll a single die. All right, here we go. We roll 5 and 6. Perfect. No 1s, no 2s. That means we don't lose any aircraft. we destroy the red cube in the air section. Air superiority restored. The skies are clear, for now. And we've only spent one of our 4 actions. The turn is just getting started. After combat, maintenance matters. After every attack, your launched gray cubes don't just stay in the campaign section. They return to their aircraft card, but not to the operational row. They need maintenance. So instead of placing them back in the operational slots, they go into the bottom refitting row. Only cubes in the operational row can be used for future actions. So right now, on our BF-109 card, 2 cubes are still operational. 2 cubes are now in refitting. We've won the air fight, but our fighters need servicing. And that's the constant tension in this game. For our second action cube, we're not slowing down. We're going for the mission objective, which for radar strike was 2 green cubes. We're launching again, this time to attack the radar stations in the land campaign section. We place our action cube on the second launch slot. And this is important. That's the final launch slot available this turn. So this will be our last air sortie for now, apart from recon if we choose to. Now check the cost. This slot has 3 fuel icons. That means this launch costs 3 fuel. Fuel is getting tight. For this launch, we're bringing in the BF-110 heavy fighters. And we're committing fully. All 3 gray cubes from its operational row are launching to attack the land campaign section and eliminate those 2 green radar targets. This is the mission. Normally, this second launch slot costs 3 fuel, so we would discard 3 black fuel cubes. But the BF-110 has a special rule. When launching aircraft from this card, it never costs more than 2 fuel. So instead of paying 3, we only discard 2 fuel. That's efficiency. Rolling the attack. We launched 3 cubes. That gives us 3 attack dice. Looking at the BF-110's stats, we need 4 or higher to destroy green cubes. Here we go. We roll 6, 4, and 2. That's 2 successful hits. Both radar stations are destroyed. Mission objectives cleared. But that too matters. Rolling low results in aircraft losses, so we lose 1 gray cube. We could spend a Fight Iron Cross cube from our resource card to re-roll that 2. That might prevent the loss, but we decide not to. Why? Because those white cubes are rare, and later turns might be worse. Sometimes you take the hit. To represent the loss, we take 1 gray cube and place it at the bottom of the BF-110 card. The radar stations are gone, but it cost us, and in this game, every success leaves a scar. Now here's where missions matter. This standard mission, Radar Strike, has 2 green objective slots. Only green cubes destroyed from the land section can fill these green slots. So instead of returning these cubes to the supply, we place them directly onto the mission's objective spaces. Once all objective slots are filled, the mission is immediately completed. Radar Strike shows 2 rewards under the Mission Complete box. A green downward arrow and a recon icon. Let's resolve those. The second reward gives us +1 recon, so we can place a die with a value of 1 inside the recon box. Recon points represent intelligence and operational awareness. You can spend recon points to re-roll dice, roll extra dice for missions or events, ignore saturation penalties, or even gain an extra action. Recon reduces uncertainty. It doesn't win battles. It helps you avoid disasters. Now let's move on to reducing the land campaign die. Each campaign section, air, land, and sea, has its own campaign die. This die tracks the overall pressure and resistance on that front. Higher values mean worsening conditions. Lower values mean improved operating conditions. Right now, the land campaign die is at 4. The green down arrow means we reduce it by 1. Now it's at 3. That means land pressure has eased. If a campaign die climbs to 5 or 6, penalties escalate. Ignore a section too long, and it can spiral out of control. So by destroying 2 green cubes and allocating them correctly, we completed radar strike, reduced land pressure, gained intelligence, and made future turns slightly safer. We also removed the timer die from the mission to show that the mission is no longer active. Our 2 surviving gray cubes from the BF-110 aircraft card are now pulled out of the land campaign section and moved up into the refitting row on the card. We still have 2 action cubes remaining for this turn to work with, and we're going to spend one of them on the logistics action. We place a gray cube into the first slot of the logistics box. Now logistics gives us 6 possible options. For this first logistics action, we're allowed to choose 3 different options, and each one can only be selected once. The available choices are: recover a lost small aircraft cube, recover another small aircraft cube, recover a lost large aircraft cube, gain 2 fuel, refit a single small aircraft cube, gain 1 fuel. For our first selection, we're going to gain 2 fuel, adding 2 black cubes to the resource card. Next, we'll recover the lost large aircraft cube from the BF-110 card, the one we lost earlier. We move it from the bottom of the card back up into an available slot in the operational row. And for our third and final option, we'll choose to gain 1 fuel, adding 1 more black fuel cube to the resource card. That wraps up our logistics action for this turn, and we're now in a much stronger position going forward. Now for our final action cube of the turn, we're assigning it to the refit action box. This action lets us move aircraft from the refitting row back up into the operational row, basically getting them combat ready again. For this refit action, we have 4 possible options. Refit 2 small aircraft cubes. Refit a single large aircraft cube. Refit a single small aircraft cube. Refit another single large aircraft cube. For our first selection, we'll refit 1 small aircraft cube from the BF-110 card, moving it up into the operational row. Then for our second choice, we'll refit 2 small aircraft cubes from the BF-109 card and move both of those into the operational row as well. And just like that, we wrap up the Luftwaffe phase. All gray action cubes are returned from the action boxes back to the supply, resetting everything and getting us ready for the next turn. All right, let's roll into turn 2. We begin with the campaign phase. Step 1 is moving the timeline marker forward 1 space. As we advance, we land on a green space. That's important, because instead of rolling randomly on the standard mission chart, we automatically generate the topmost mission from the campaign mission chart. So this turn's mission is predetermined. No dice roll needed. Now there's another bonus here. Moving into a green space also triggers our commander's special ability, administrative efficiency. That ability gives us +2 fuel. So we immediately add 2 fuel cubes to the resource card. Nice little boost to start the turn. And with that handled, we continue the phase by rolling once again on the event chart to see what new development the event cards bring us this turn. We roll a 3, and that gives us the RAF Resurgence event. That means we must add 2 red cubes to the air campaign section. So we place 2 red cubes into empty slots there. Looks like the Royal Air Force isn't going to sit back and let us dominate the skies uncontested. Now we move into the mission phase of Turn 2. Since there are no active missions on the board right now, we don't have any timer dice to reduce, so we can skip that step entirely. Time to generate a new mission. Because we're currently on a green space on the timeline, we once again generate the topmost campaign mission instead of rolling on the standard mission chart. Remember, standard missions can show up multiple times throughout the campaign. Campaign missions, on the other hand, are unique. Each one appears only once. Our first campaign mission is Kanalkampf. This mission has a timer of 3 turns. And so, we place a die with a value of 3 next to the mission. Next, it deploys 4 blue cubes into the sea campaign section. 3 of those cubes are marked as objectives, and they must be cleared in order to successfully complete the mission. So the battle now shifts toward the channel, and things are about to heat up at sea. This is the perfect moment to break down how saturation works, because it's about to matter as all the slots are filled in the sea campaign section. A campaign section becomes saturated if either of 2 things happens. The campaign die for that section is 5 or higher, or every slot in that campaign section is completely filled. When a section is saturated, it becomes much harder to attack. Anytime you launch aircraft into that section using launch orders, all of your attack dice suffer a -1 penalty to their results. That may not sound huge, but it absolutely is. A -1 penalty means fewer hits, more missed rolls, and a much greater chance of taking losses. Thematically, it represents the enemy being heavily entrenched in that area. Endless fighter patrols in the air section, reinforced anti-air defenses over land, or massive naval presence in the sea section. Now let's talk about the importance of the campaign die itself. If a section's campaign die ever reaches 5 or higher, in addition to saturation, it will also trigger that section's special penalty. These penalties vary depending on the campaign and a specific section, but they're usually painful, restricting actions, costing recon points, or even impacting other sections of the board. For example, in the Battle of Britain land campaign section, if the campaign die is 5 or more, you cannot use any re-rolls from white Iron Cross cubes or recon points during that turn. That's a serious limitation. But it's not all bad news. Keeping campaign dice low doesn't just prevent penalties. It can actually reward you. At the end of the campaign, lower campaign dice can grant additional victory points on top of what you earn from completed missions. So managing saturation and controlling those campaign dice isn't just about survival. It's about maximizing your final score. And with that, we'll wrap up this quick playthrough of Fliegerkorps. Good luck in your future campaigns, Commander.